Stop giving everyone the remote control to your emotions. The world has convinced you that your peace depends on your circumstances, that you need the right job, the right relationship, the right conditions to finally feel calm. The ancients knew differently. They understood that the most powerful woman in any room is not the one who controls everything around her. She is the one who no longer needs to. 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor ruled 75 million people during plague, war, betrayal, and the death of his own children, yet found a way to remain unshaken. His private journal became one of the most influential philosophy books in history. Today, we decode his strategy for inner sovereignty. This is the ancient art of becoming unbothered. You know the feeling. A single comment can replay in your mind for hours. Someone's tone in a meeting can ruin your entire afternoon. A change in plans can send you spiraling. You have become a creature of reaction, your mood rising and falling with circumstances you cannot control and people whose behavior you cannot predict. And the exhausting part? You know better. You know you should not let these things affect you so deeply, and yet somehow they do. The result is a quiet form of suffering, the feeling that everyone else has power over your emotional state except you, the sense that your peace is always conditional, dependent on things going a certain way, on people behaving appropriately, on life cooperating with your expectations. This is the condition the Stoics diagnosed 2 millennia ago, and it is the condition Marcus Aurelius spent his reign learning to overcome. Imagine ruling the world's most powerful empire and watching it crumble around you. In 165 AD, the Antonine Plague broke out and devastated the Roman Empire, killing between 5 and 10 million people. Marcus Aurelius's own co-emperor and adoptive brother likely died from it. Germanic tribes crossed the Danube and invaded Roman territory, pushing toward Italy itself. The plague had so decimated his army that Marcus had to recruit soldiers from among gladiators, slaves, and bandits. He spent over a decade on military campaigns, often writing by candlelight in the harsh conditions of frontier camps. But perhaps his most devastating trials were personal. Marcus and his wife, Faustina, had at least 14 children during their 30-year marriage, including 2 sets of twins. Only 6 survived to adulthood. He buried child after child, watching them sicken, suffer, and die, while still being required to hold an empire together. The Roman historian Cassius Dio wrote that Marcus did not meet with the good fortune that he deserved, for he was not strong in body and was involved in a multitude of troubles throughout practically his entire reign. And yet, during these very years of constant warfare, plague, rebellion, and personal grief, Marcus wrote the most enduring work on inner peace ever produced. His private notes were never intended for anyone's eyes but his own. They were reminders, spiritual exercises designed to help him remain steady when everything suggested he should fall apart. In one of his most quoted passages, he wrote, "The mind which is free from passions is a citadel, for man has nothing more secure to which he can fly for refuge and be thereafter inexpugnable." This is the insight at the heart of Stoic psychology. Within each of us exists an inviolable stronghold of freedom, a sanctuary of the mind that external forces cannot breach. When we retreat to this inner citadel, we become untouchable. not because life stops being difficult, but because we recognize that our judgments, not events themselves, create our disturbance. Marcus articulated this principle with remarkable clarity. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Consider what this means. The same event, a criticism, a setback, a cancellation, can devastate one person and leave another completely unbothered. The difference lies entirely in how we choose to interpret it. This is not positive thinking. This is not pretending everything is fine when it is not. This is the recognition that between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lives your freedom. The untrained mind collapses that space to nothing. Something happens and we react instantly, with anger, with anxiety, with despair. We add layers of interpretation to neutral events. We take things personally that were never personal. We catastrophize, dramatize, and agonize over things we cannot change. The trained mind expands that space. It learns to observe the first impression without immediately believing it. It asks, what am I adding to this situation with my interpretation? What story am I telling myself that may not be true? Marcus put it this way: say nothing more to yourself than what the first impressions report. You have been told that someone speaks evil of you. This is what you have been told. You have not been told that you are injured. The fact and the interpretation are two different things. Someone criticized you. That is the fact. Whether you are humiliated, diminished, or harmed, that is your addition, and your additions are always optional. But here is what Marcus understood that many miss. Being unbothered is not about never feeling disturbed. It is about recovering quickly. He wrote, "When force of circumstance upsets your equanimity, lose no time in recovering your self-control, and do not remain out of tune longer than you can help. Habitual recurrence to the harmony will increase your mastery of it." Even Marcus, after years of practice, had to remind himself of these principles constantly. The meditations exist precisely because he needed daily reinforcement. Being unbothered is a practice, not a permanent state. The goal is faster recovery, not immunity. And this changes everything. You do not need to be superhuman. You do not need to feel nothing. You simply need to return to center faster, like each time you are knocked off balance. So how do we practice this in modern life? The first technique is what we might call the first impression pause. When something disturbs you, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, what am I adding to this situation with my interpretation? Separate the fact from your story about the fact. Your colleague criticized your work in a meeting. That is the fact. Whether you are humiliated, whether your career is over, whether they are out to get you, these are interpretations. And interpretations can be revised. The second practice is the Inner Citadel Retreat. When chaos surrounds you, close your eyes and visualize retreating to an untouchable sanctuary within. Take 3 deep breaths. Remind yourself, nothing external can truly harm the real me. My peace is not dependent on this situation resolving in any particular way. Marcus wrote, when you find yourself forced, as it were, into confusion by surrounding circumstances, return into yourself as speedily as you can. This is not escapism. This is strategic retreat to the only territory you fully control, your own mind. From this grounded place, you can respond wisely rather than react blindly. If this perspective resonates with you, if you are ready to cultivate your own inner serenity, subscribe to Her Stoic Mind. This is where ancient wisdom meets modern life. The third practice is the morning inoculation. Each morning, briefly anticipate the difficulties you might face. Marcus wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, and so none of them can hurt me." This is not pessimism, it is preparation. When difficulties arrive, they do not surprise you. You have already made peace with their possibility. And finally, track your recovery time. When you lose your equanimity, when you react with anger, anxiety, or despair, notice how long it takes you to return to center. Do not judge yourself, simply observe. Over time, aim to shorten that recovery. This is the true measure of progress. Imagine what changes when this becomes your way of being. A criticism lands, and instead of spiraling for hours, you pause, examine your interpretation, and release what is not useful. Plans fall through, and instead of letting disappointment color your entire day, you acknowledge the feeling briefly and redirect your energy toward what remains possible. Someone you care about says something hurtful, and instead of withdrawing or retaliating, you retreat to your inner citadel first. You ask what might be going on for them. Are they acting from their own pain? Then you respond from groundedness rather than reactivity. This is not cold detachment. Marcus felt deeply. He loved his children, grieved their deaths, cared passionately about justice, but he did not let those feelings destroy his capacity to act wisely. He did not let his circumstances author his inner experience, and neither must you. Marcus Aurelius ruled the known world, commanded armies, shaped laws, held the fate of millions in his hands. Yet he spent his nights writing private reminders to himself about how to stay calm when people were difficult, how to recover when life disappointed him, how to return to his inner sanctuary when chaos demanded his attention. If the most powerful man in the world needed daily practice to remain unbothered, perhaps we can give ourselves permission to practice too. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The citadel exists within you. It has always been there. You have simply been looking for peace in places it was never meant to live, in circumstances, in other people's opinions, in conditions that were never guaranteed." The ultimate power move is not controlling everything around you. It is recognizing that you do not need to. An emperor knew this 2,000 years ago, writing to himself by firelight while his world burned. And now you know it too. Subscribe to Her Stoic Mind for more ancient wisdom for modern serenity. And tell us in the comments what would change in your life if you truly believed that no one and nothing external has the power to disturb your peace without your permission.